Good day, this is Brian R. Smith with Christmas Whistler, and I'm going to take you through My Maintenance Records, currently enjoying version 1. This is a great tool. If you've ever trying to keep track of all the different kinds of maintenance items and then the tasks that you need to perform against those maintenance items for the different kind of maintenance, oil changes and rotation of tires and pumping out septic systems, I can never remember exactly when I did all these different things, nor remember if it's time to start doing that maintenance again for that item. This is a great tool. I created it for myself. I want to share it with you all. It's easy to use. It's very flexible. You can expand it to be anything that you need, anything that you want. Change all these terms. I've got kind of a starter set here, but you can change this to be any way you want. And this will tell you when the maintenance tasks are near and due or even past due. And I'll show you how this all kind of works and how all comes together. First of all, each of these rows, like Auto 1, Auto 2, and Boat, and there can be many more of these rows that you can add here. These are your maintenance items, and so this will be what you're going to be performing the maintenance tasks against. So you can see there each of these columns, like C through H here, these different columns for big clean, oil change, winterize. You can have as many of these columns as you want, and those are for the different tasks that you perform against the maintenance item. What I like to do is I like to keep these tasks and the maintenance items to be fairly generic. Like big clean, I'm not specific on cleaning the underside or cleaning the outside or cleaning the inside. It's just big clean. Oil change, I keep it very generic. What be like all the oils or some of the oils. Filter changes, again, I could have an air filter, I could have an oil filter, but I'm keeping it very generic so that I can reuse a lot of these tasks for the different kinds of maintenance items out there, and you'll see how this can work to our advantage here coming up. But you can have these, and this is the flexibility of the tool. You can name them anything you want to be as specific or as generic or general as possible. Some of the colors. Green is the only cells that you actively need to, that you can change or that you would want to change and all that. Gray is some of the headers. As I indicated, as the maintenance task is getting closer and closer to when it's due, it will become yellow, and if the task is past due, it becomes red, and I'll show you how that works. And anything in white is just information and guidance. So some of the colors. I do have a lookup tab here. No reason to really go here. It kind of controls how the program works. If you need to make any changes, you can make changes to the lookup table, but it's really more for advanced users only. And then the other thing is, before you get started, you want to obviously download this, put it into a place where you can find it, open it up every time you make a maintenance change, or once a week or once a month, or whatever your plan is. But the first thing you want to do is you want to file, save as, so that if you do make any mistakes with it, you can always go back to the original version that you downloaded. And if your name is Fred or Ginger, you can just change it to what you want it to be. So it just changes to Ginger's Maintenance Records. Grand. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you probably want to do is just start changing this to be, for yourself, for your own maintenance kinds of items and all that. So what we'll do is we'll change the boat, and I'll start adding into some things here. Big clean, I'm always cleaning my boats. I'm not going to worry about keeping track of that. Oil change, again, keeping it generic. I'm thinking of the oil for my boat as the lower unit oil. Yeah, and I do change that. I change that every spring. So I'm going to say here, the last time I changed it was in kind of the May time frame, and we'll just say May 15th. And you notice nothing really changes here, but this no is an indication where this task doesn't apply to this maintenance item, but this one does, right? So I'm going to change this to be the number of months between maintenance, between when I'm going to do that piece of work on that boat and all that. And again, what I said for this, I do this every spring, so I'm going to change that to 12, to be 12 months. You notice here, the My Maintenance Records tool automatically calculates the number of months since this last time I changed the oil in my lower unit of my boat. And it does that by just taking the date that you put into here when it was last performed, and you subtract it from today's date, and you come up with the number of months. Grand. Okay. But let me just kind of play with this max months. If you said I want to do this every 6 months, every half a year, you would change this max months to 6, and you notice now its background to the cell is yellow, and it's giving us an alert. It's kind of indicating that, hey, this maintenance task, you may want to be performing this soon. You better get this scheduled. And if, for example, you'd say, oh, I really want to change my lower unit oil every 3 months, you can, but I don't know why. But anyway, you can see there then When this number is greater than the maximum number of months, then I start saying, hey, you're giving you a warning, this maintenance period exceeds this. All right, but we'll just go back here to 12 months. So filter change, not really any filters that I'm concerned about. Rotating tires, well, I don't have any tires in my boat, but again, I like to kind of keep things all nice and concise here. My boat is on a trailer, so let me add that to this maintenance item. And now rotating tires, yeah, that does make sense. So again, rotating tires, I like to do that every fall at the end of the year. And so I just change that to be, let's call that September of this year and the 15th. And I like to again do that every year. So that's another 12-month. Packing the bearings, I do that every spring. Just so everything is ready to go with my trailer. And so we'll call that April. And I'll just grab a date there. And the pack the bearings again every spring, so that's once every year like that. Winterize, I always winterize. There's no really, I don't need to keep track of that for my memory's sake, right? I know that I've winterized the boat, and the boat's all winterized and put away. So that's how that works for updating and changing this tool to be, things that represents, of course, your life and your maintenance items and the tasks. So what happens if you want to add an item? So I'm going to add things I need to do around the house, the home. Well, it's very easy to do. Is you just take all these different cells here for this boat trailer row, or any one that really say best represents what you want to do, and I'm going to grab this auto 2. I'm going to highlight all those cells, including this months since last, which is just kind of for your information. I'm going to go up here and say copy, and then put the cursor down here in the first empty spot there and click paste. And now that's all been pasted down there. And I can change this now from this auto 2 to be my home. Okay, so my home, yeah, I do a big clean every year. We live out in the country, house gets dirty, so I power wash the house once a year. And I usually do that in the springtime when it warms up a little bit. So let's go into May here. And I did do that, May, probably on the 21st. And again, I want to do that every year. So do that with 12 months and all that. Oil change, well, we don't have any oil change for the house and all that. But filter change, and so here, yeah, you think, well, filter, yeah, I've got a furnace, right? So again, you could add a new row for the furnace. But what I'm going to do is just have it in here as part of the home furnace and all that. And I can do the filter change. And again, I do that in the spring and I do that in the fall. So I just did it here in September, and I do that again every 6 months. Right? Rotating tires, well, I don't have any tires for my house, but I do have a septic system. We live out here in the country, and there really is nothing here about septic system, pumping out the septic system. I guess a big clean could be something that would kind of trigger your memory to say, oh, I need to pump out my septic system, but I'm already using that for the power washing of the house and all that. So what I need to do is I need to add a new maintenance task for pumping out the septic system. Again, very easy to do. Highlight these 2 columns, the last column plus the months since last. Copy. Go over here to the first blank row here, or blank column here, happens to be column I in this case, and then paste. Right, and then here I can just change this to be pump the septic, or just pump out. And then here for home, house, furnace, septic, and then of course septic. I do that about every 5 years. You may want to do more or less than that. We actually just had it done this summer. All right, so I'm going to change that to be here in kind of the June time frame, and then pump out again every 5 years, which is 60 months here. And so this will keep track of this, and so that 3, 4, 5 years from now, I'm not going to remember when I last pumped out the septic system. This will keep track of it, and it will start highlighting things when it needs to be done again. So we've added items, we've added maintenance tasks. Deleting an item is very easy to do. You just take this, if you sell your home or you sell your auto or something like that, you can just highlight them. You can just delete the cells, or right click and highlight all the rows and all that, right click and delete, and that deletes then all the things. So it's very easy to do, adding and deleting. If there's any other hints and tips or things that you need to know, there's places where I've posted this program, so just ask there, and I'll be glad to help out in any way. So that was kind of a quick guided tour of My Maintenance Records at version 1. If you want to see some additions or new things or new features to this, I'm always interested in finding out what I can do to make it better. And so send me your cards and letters. This is by Christmas Whistler. Here's the current version, all that. And if you have any ideas about how to expand or do you make this program even better, you can always send an email to christmaswhistler@gmail.com. That's all one word there. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Power on.